hate hashtag that, is of course Zach's brainchild here. That was spawned out of all the national disrespect, and to say it respectfully, skepticism, right? That the national perspective had of Drew Lock coming into 2020. They weren't big believers in his 4-1 finish. They focused in very closely on why he tumbled out of the first round, and the Broncos passed on him in the first round twice and all that stuff. And he just didn't have much support outside of the Denver media market. Meanwhile, guys like Zach and myself, and we weren't alone in the Denver media market, were saying, hey, look, this kid, there's something there. There's an it factor. And, obviously he wasn't blowing the doors down exactly, but there is so much there to be excited about. The future is bright. And then, of course, you get Colin Cowherd as one of the very few, Zach, people in the national media that was singing the praises of Drew Lock. And I want to remind everybody that he said that this was as early as June, Zach, that Drew Lock is a huge talent. That's a direct quote. Drew Lock is a huge talent, that he's going to be 2020's pop quarterback, all right, comparing him to previous second-year breakout studs like Carson Wentz, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, all right? And then he even went on to say, in his defense and vociferous belief in Drew Lock, don't be shocked if Denver beats Kansas City, talking about 2020. Now, you fast forward to November, and of course, things got out to a clunky start for the Broncos, and in large part, Zach, due to the fact that Drew Lock injured his shoulder in week 2, missed some time, and really upset any modest momentum that he and Pat Shurmur had cooking together. All right, with that being said, as the Denver Broncos, and this is what, Zach, was brought to our attention, it was either Sunday or Monday night by one of our superstars. During the Chargers-Broncos game, of course, Drew Lock is stinking it up for 3 of those quarters. Colin Cowherd tweets, watching Justin Herbert and Drew Lock on the same field today can't give John Elway much confidence going forward. All right, fine, whatever. Lock goes on to win that game and completely dominates the fourth quarter. The Broncos win. Cowherd then, Zach, doubles down. And I want to read this quote, and then I'm going to serve it over to you. And he really focused in, I thought it was interesting, Zach, on Lock's kind of celebrations in the fourth quarter. And I didn't think, knowing what we do about Drew Lock for what it's worth and what we've seen, I didn't think his celebrations in the fourth quarter after he would throw a touchdown or whatever were actually all that far out there, to be honest with you. Yeah, he was kind of doing this a little bit, but it was like he wasn't going crazy. But here's what Cowherd said, quote, quarterback is not a position to be cool. Now, it's cool when you win. Peyton Manning is funny. Brett Favre was cool without trying. Patrick Mahomes is cool without trying. But if you're trying to be cool and you're a little too silly or you're a showboater, it's not going to work. Not my kind of guy. Russell Wilson's not cool. Tom Brady, not cool. Breeze, not cool. Andrew Luck wasn't cool. Carson Wentz isn't cool. Again, don't tell me Patrick Mahomes is cool. He's cool because he's winning. He's not trying to be cool, and it's a big difference. There are guys that are cool, and there are guys, Zach, that try to be cool. And then the last thing he says here is, win some games. He goes, I was right on Johnny Manziel. I was right on Baker. I was right on Cam. And I was right on Jameis. Too silly, showboat, too cool. I was right. It's 4 for 4. Bring your argument on. Here's number 5. I'm not into Drew Lock. Win more games, Cub Scout. Win more games. And then he went on to say that he's officially off the Drew Lock train.
Spoken by the least cool person in the building, in the room, Chad. I mean, I'm going to say to this, and it might seem a little shorter, if you guys are expecting a rant on this, I'm going to say the same thing I said when he commended Drew Lock. I do not give an SHIT what Colin Cowherd has to say. I do not care. Positive or negative, his opinion means less than nothing to me. It's on the bottom of my shoe. The way he judges quarterbacks is what take I'm going to have today is going to get the most eyeballs, the most views, the most reads, the most page views. That's how he operates. That's the mindset. That's the market he's in. He doesn't have any impact on Lock as a player, as a person, on the Broncos. He didn't even dance when he threw that. And I don't even care if he did. I don't care if he pulled his pants down and mooned the crowd. He threw the game-winning touchdown pass. But all he did was do a little shoulder pop. It wasn't like he was busting a move on the field. So if that's what he really has to come with, if that's his biggest criticism of Drew Lock, the player, then you know what? Drew Lock, the player, is in a much better situation than, you thought he'd be in his second season. He's calling him a Cub Scout because he hasn't won more games. What is he calling Justin Herbert, who's won 1 game? That's what I like to know. So his definition of cool, his definition of anything having to do with an NFL analysis or anything to do with that means 0 to me personally.
it really is meaningless. You know, it was always just something noteworthy for us to talk about during the offseason. That, hey, you got Colin Cowherd over here saying good things about Drew Lock. But Zach, it's really bizarre, his assertion here that basically Lock needs to, quote, win more games before he tries to be, quote, cool, right? All right, well, let's look at
He's
that.
not
Just
trying to be cool.
Let's look at it just for a second, though, all right? He started 10 games in this league. He's 6-4 as a starter. Now, I want to ask each and every one of you out there, quarterbacks, and I don't have this stat in front of me. I haven't taken the time to research this, but if anyone has this off the top of their head, go ahead and hit me up and tell us in the comments or in the chat stream. But Zach, how many quarterbacks, let's just say drafted from 2017 on, all right, till now, in their first 10 starts have a better record than 6-4 as a starter? I'm really curious to know how many quarterbacks out there, because again, people can pick nits and say, hey man, quarterback wins. It shouldn't be a quarterback stat. That's not what I'm saying here. He's talking about winning, right? He's saying win more games before you try to be cool. Drew Lock's just being himself. How many quarterbacks drafted just in the last few years have won as many games in their first 10 starts in the league as Drew Lock? All right, that's one point I want to make here. The second point is this guy, all right, as you said, he's a shock jock. He's a guy that's, he's a hot take guy. He's a Skip Bayless. His own co-host, Joy Taylor, was like, but Colin, you were way in on Drew Lock this offseason. You're way in on it. And he's like, quote, now I'm just starting to see this stuff. I'm like, out, done, not interested. Quarterback's not a cool position. Why is he so focused on this cool thing? It's bizarre. I want you to be presidential or quarterbackian, manufacturer's a new word. I want you to be an adult. I want you to be fairly neutral. I want you to be right in the middle. Zach, this is like it's nonsensical.